What's up, guys, and welcome back to the Smooth Golf Podcast. I'm your host, DJ, and today I want to kind of give a little bit of a background to me. Um, this is more about my journey into professional golf, why I started, when I started, and some of the things that I've done over the years. Um, One, the struggles, some of the successes, and then what it is that I'm preparing for in the next upcoming years. So stay tuned for all of that. Guys, speaking about my professional golf journey, it is not stopping anytime soon. But in order for it to continue, I'm going to need you guys' help. I am looking for sponsors for the 2024 season. So if you would like to help out in that way, check out smoothgolf.com and go to the sponsorship page where you can learn more about sponsorship opportunities. And then you can also check out some of my affiliate links. Go to 366.com or tokyotunes.com and use the promo code Smooth 2024, and it's gonna help with getting me a little bit more way I can pay for like entry fees, hotel fees, and such. So again, check out smoothgolf.com to learn more about sponsorship opportunities. Okay, to talk about my journey into professional golf, I can't just start in the middle and where I'm at right now. I'm gonna go all the way back to the beginning. So I started playing professional golf back in 2019, around 2020. This was when the COVID-19 pandemic really kind of kicked off. A lot of places had these at-home orders, especially in Chicago. We had the at-home orders telling people, you can't really go anywhere and stuff like that. And at the time, I was living with my now ex, and I had always talked about playing professional golf. I had been playing in tournaments and practicing and stuff like that. And it had been something that I wanted to do for quite a while. And so when the stay-at-home order kind of got relaxed for those playing golf, since you don't really get too close to anybody or touch anybody like that, it just became the perfect opportunity for me to get started. And my ex at the time was like, hey, with them relaxing it on golf courses, this is the right time. So I went in, I took the initiative to go ahead and start practicing for a tournament and tour on a tour that's called Tour Red. Um, and that's kind of where I got my first professional tournament start. Um, let's just say I didn't do very well. I definitely was not as prepared as I thought I would be, even though I had been practicing and playing um, for a long time, and even just practicing, in the house when the stay-at-home orders were in effect. I definitely was not ready for what it was that I was facing. Um, and one of those things was kind of the confidence. Um, it's a real thing to try to believe that you belong in that space. And at the time, I just wasn't feeling it because, even with the practice and the playing that I had been doing, it's a whole lot different when you get out there and you start playing against guys that are, I would say about maybe 10 times better than you. But that's what kind of kept me going, playing against guys that were better than me. It made me really strive to do better. And eventually I started having a few better tournaments. I was scoring a little bit better, but it still wasn't enough for what it was that I was trying to do. So fast forward to, 2021 and 2022, and I had another different challenge, and that was trying to compete compete, practice, and play around the schedule of a full-time employment. At the time, I was a assistant golf professional at a golf course that had been struggling to get back on its feet. Um, I have to give a shout out to my boss at the time, Miss Coffee, because she definitely tried to give me the time to, you know, go ahead and get to practice and, go out and play the tournaments that I was looking to play in. And I really appreciate her for that. But, trying to do, well, I wouldn't say trying to do, but trying to play professional golf, around full-time employment, it does get a little tough, especially if you're going to try to play full time because you have to dedicate a lot of time into the practice and being able to play at different courses, and also the preparation is just entirely different. So me trying to do that around a full-time job, it was a little challenging. Every now and then it felt like I was close to what it was that I was trying to do, but it just still wasn't enough. So, and then also trying to travel to that full-time employment was also kind of tough, considering that I was taking the train about 2 hours every day, and then even trying to take the train 2 hours back. So my practice and playing time was definitely limited, but being at a golf course, practically the entire time still allotted me the time that I needed to, practice and play. But all in all, it just still was very challenging as, you know, I was trying to play in different tournaments, especially because it was the year that I decided to play in the US Open qualifier. And that in and of itself is a whole entire challenge. And it's not as easy as people think, especially like trying to come out of that local qualifier. It's not as easy. Guys, the season for 2023 is getting ready to end, but that doesn't mean you can't have those fresh polos for any occasion. Go to 366.com and use promo code SMOOTH2024 to get 15% off your order. But also check out the new customer deals. They got no collar polos for 14.95, and they got the quarter zips going for 17.95 right now. And that is for new customers. Guys, come on, you got to take advantage of that deal. So go to 366.com. That's THREESIXTY, the number 6.com, and use promo code SMOOTH2024 to take 15% off that order. Okay, so now that I've kind of gone over how I kind of got started in my journey as a professional golfer, now I can come to kind of where I am currently. Um, so now I am at a different job. I work in, retail at Dick's Sporting Goods. You know, of course, I'm in the golf department, so that makes my life a little bit easier. So the thing is that now, with me being at Dick's Sporting Goods and the scheduling being more flexible, I can now put more time into my practice and being able to go out and play, especially with, the flexibility of getting those days off for different tournaments. So this past year, I was playing on this tour called the Weekly Challenge Golf Tour. It's not a professional tour in and of itself per se, but it is a tour that allows you to play in kind of like that professional space where you can get cash prizes and stuff like that. So at the time, I was dealing with some stuff personally that kind of took away a good portion of the funds that I needed to play in some higher end stuff, like for example, the APT All Pro Tour or even the APGA Tour. So I scrambled to try to find something that I could afford and be able to compete. So I remember the Weekly Challenge Golf Tour from my time at another golf course working behind the counter, and found out that they were still competing and playing tournaments. So checked out, went ahead and registered, and then went into my first tournament. Now, I will say the first couple of events was a little bit of a struggle, mainly mentally for me because the first tournament I was kind of trying to experiment, considering that I hadn't played a competitive round for about an entire year. The last competitive round that I played was in June of 2022. And ever since then, just, practiced and played casually for quite a while. So, with it being my first competitive round, I kind of experimented. And that definitely kind of brought my score down. Well, I wouldn't say down, but it definitely kind of shot my score up quite a bit. So ended up shooting 85, which, for my first time around, I was trying to take it as, hey, that's my fault for trying to experiment. I should have played better, and we just said we're just going to move on from that. The second tournament that I played, Actually started off the tournament pretty well. I believe I was only like plus one, plus two until like the 12th hole. And that was when I had basically a recurring injury kind of rear its ugly head. And I just wasn't able to swing through the ball like I would have wanted. So then I just kind of played through it as best as I could and it just got rough after that. So ended up 86, keeping myself out of contention to try to win or even place. So, I just took that as I really had to do better in getting my body ready to compete and even just competing in and of itself. So started working out, started trying to get a little bit fit, and actually it's been going great considering that I've lost 40, actually now it should be around 42 pounds since I started the year back in January. So, you know, Yahoo for that. Um, so then came my third tournament of the year. I did two things, actually more things that really prepared me for this tournament. So one, and actually I did it for the other two as well. I created yardage books. If you're actually wondering about the yardage books, they are yardage book templates that you can buy off of Amazon that you can just kind of freehand draw the course designs onto them and you can use that as your guide around the golf course. So if you're looking for that, definitely go to Amazon.com and look up the yardage books by Cadent Golf. That's Caddent Golf. It has been a real game changer for me, as sometimes I'm not able to get practice rounds. So, you got to use what you can to try to get a look at the golf course and figure out what it is your plan would be, tackling it. So, third tournament coming up, I created my yardage book. And not only did I create my yardage book, but then I also had downtime during the week before the tournament to actually get some practice rounds in. So what I did was I split the practice rounds into 2 days. So one day I did front nine, the other day I did the back nine. And so with those practice rounds, I was able to see, the different spots where I could hit certain shots, what clubs I needed to hit off tees to give myself the best shot at, you know, getting to the greens and stuff like that. So then the tournament round came about, and I could not miss. I could not miss any of the spots that I was looking at. Now, granted, I was playing with a little bit of a cut swing that entire day, especially with my irons, but for the most part, I didn't feel I didn't feel any hesitance in my swing. So that's what gave me the drive to really, keep playing the way that I was and really scored the way I was because I was getting up and down from practically anywhere. I was making putts and just felt like I was doing everything right. The only time that I had one bad swing was on the 17th hole. It was a par three, water on the left and it was the one time that my swing decided it wanted to take the ball and move it left. So ended up taking a double on that hole, but par at the next hole, actually almost birdied it, but par at the last hole. And when I tell you the wait to see if you won a tournament, it was agonizing. I mean, waiting to see the guy behind your group um, to decide whether you either win or you have to go into a playoff. It's rough because you start getting anxious. Like I didn't even take my clubs and put them in the car because I was like, look, I am going to be ready in the case that I have to go into a playoff to figure out who wins this tournament. So, waiting there was the most excruciating wait possible. It's like normally I'm a patient person, but that made me so impatient that I almost wanted to get out of there if I had to go into a playoff. But I was also confident enough that if push come to shove, I could probably win that playoff 9 times out of 10. So, but I ended up winning. So it was my first ever win as a professional, and it was the most elating feeling that I had ever had because I have been at this for 4 years now, and it's great to see that I've been making progress in my game to where I finally win a tournament, and it just makes me want to go for more. So I played in more events in 2023 with a couple more good finishes. Even though the scores weren't as I want to say they weren't as good, but it's just like, it's what I could get at that course because of conditions. And, there were a couple of times where I got a couple of rulings that really weren't in my favor. But all in all, I was able to come out with another top five finish, well, two more top five finishes, taking second place in one tournament and then a tie for fourth in another. And then I was also invited to play in the Tours Tournament of Champions, which, in order to get into that, you have to win a tournament and then you have to play in a minimum of six. Thank God that I played in six because otherwise I would not have been able to play. So, Tournament of Champions comes around and I do the same thing that I normally do. I get my yardage book ready, I get my well, I wasn't able to get practice rounds in, but I at least get looks of the course using my yardage books and drawing out the courses on my yardage books so that I can kind of know where it is that I need to put my tee shots. And if you want to check out how I set up my yardage books, that's going to be set up in another episode, especially going into my comparative golf series, which is going to be coming out later on. So went through all of that, and even though I felt like I was prepared, having practiced and set up myself to, play the shots that I was looking at playing, I didn't get to score the way I wanted, especially because conditions weren't as favorable with a lot of mud balls and the courses being wet basically the entire two rounds for that tournament. So, I just kind of took what I could get and I ended up taking tie for 30th, which honestly, it could have been worse, but, I take it as an experience because now that I've had this sort of a successful season now, like I said, finally getting a win and having two more great finishes after that, it makes me want to play him more. And it shows that I do have the potential to play, at the highest level. So, 2024 is something I'm definitely looking to prepare for and hopefully do a lot better. Hey guys, so the off season is upon us, and you're gonna need some new gear, especially if you're gonna be working out during the off season. Head to TokyoTunes.com and use promo code Smooth2024 to take 15% off your order. They have anime-inspired shorts like Gear 5 Luffy and Itachi's Clouds and other designs that are just way cool to take into the gym. So again, go to TokyoTunes.com and use promo code Smooth2024 to take 15% off your order. So, guys, after the Tournament of Champions ended, I decided to go ahead and go into my off season, which was a kind of a big decision because I could have also played in more events. But I felt like after having some success with the tournaments that I played, I felt that I needed to go ahead and just prepare my body and prepare myself for 2024 and what that season is going to come with. So with that, there were a couple of things that I wanted to, get myself ready for, and that is my overall fitness, getting a little bit more focused with my practice, and then just trying to figure out what I'm going to be playing in next year. So with the events thing, it's kind of been looking at what events the WCGT we're going to be putting out. I plan on playing with them again next year because, again, their tournaments are very affordable. They may be just one day shootouts with, handicap involved, but with the handicap, it allows me to really compete as hard as I can because it's not like I'm just playing against like a scratch number, but I have to also compete against the handicap of the other people that are playing. So it makes you work harder. It makes you really worry about trying to take out all the misses and trying to scramble to, score the way you need to. So I'm going to be playing with them again next year, but ultimately they're not just going to be the only thing I'm going to be playing in. I plan on using them as like my preparation for some of the other stuff that I want to play in, which are like a couple of qualifiers for the IPGA, namely the Illinois State Open. And then also I want to get into more of the PGA Tour or Korn Ferry Tour qualifiers. But my main goal in 2024 is actually to prepare to compete at the PGA Tour Canada Q School that will be happening later in the fall in 2024. And I feel like that's going to be a really big test for me because, having been at this for 4 years, it's gonna be a challenge because I haven't played in anything where, I have to go 4 rounds within a week. Um, so it's gonna be a little bit challenging to keep my body, stable throughout the entire week. But all in all, I'm ready to kind of myself that test and see how well that I can do. In order for me to do that, I would literally have to definitely worry about my fitness. I have been taking the time to, get back into the gym a little bit more consistently. I'm trying to go on more of a schedule where it's like I work on certain things on certain days, and then even just trying to take, recovery breaks, so that way I can let my body rest from the amounts of stress that I've really put it through on those workout days, which I've also been using different wearables. I was using the Fitbit for a while, but then I decided to try Whoop. Whoop has been very effective in how I look at my training and how I look at my fitness as a whole. So I've really been trying to follow the Whoop and, its coaching to try to recover better because I don't sleep as much. I don't recover as well as I should be. So going through the Whoop training and the Whoop coaching really has helped me learn about recovery and learn about how my body deals with different types of stresses throughout the day. And it's honestly been a game changer for me so far. Um, but also just training in general. I've been doing a lot of weightlifting, a lot of cardio, and even just playing, basketball just on the off time, just for the cardio and the fitness of it. It's has also been working very well for me. I started off the year at 290 pounds, and now I'm down to 248, and it's been a real journey to try to lose a lot of that weight, and I'm still trying to lose more. So hopefully, when I lose more of that weight, then a lot of pressure will be taken off my body. Then I also want to focus on my practice a little bit more. A lot of times when I go out of practice, I am trying to do everything as a whole. So I work on my putting, work on my chipping, and then I work on my swing and like hitting different shots. Well, I want to try to do something a little different. I really want to try to focus on certain things on certain days. So I want to focus on putting on certain days. I want to focus on my short game on other days and then worry about my full swing mechanics and even just hitting different shots on other days. So really, it's going to be more about you know checking everything you know as an individual kind of grouping, so that way. It's not just I'm working on everything in one go and then losing focus on what it is that I have to work on. It's more about focusing on that specific thing and then making sure that I really stay in tune with what it is that needs to be worked. And also, it's just like just trying to keep myself mentally into what it is that I'm doing. There were times where I got distracted, and it definitely took a toll on what it was that I was trying to do. So Really just trying to stay mentally there. And, sometimes it's rough, but ultimately that's something that I just have to do to um, keep myself in. So definitely 2024 is going to be another great year for me, I think, as long as I keep myself within myself. I can't let anything outside of me affect what it is that I'm trying to do. So if I keep doing that, then I feel like 2024 is going to be another great year. Again, I want to thank you guys for listening to the Smooth Golf Podcast. If you are looking to support, definitely consider subscribing. And then if you are looking to become a sponsor, definitely check out smoothgolf.com and check out the sponsorship page. That's where you'll be able to learn more about how to sponsor myself, DJ Mathis, as a professional golfer. And if you would like to, definitely support through any, shopping of merch, you can go to etsy.com/shop/smooth golf and check out the merch there. You can also check out my affiliate links first with 366.com. They have great polos, and then you can also check out tokyotunes.com for your off-season merch such as gym shorts, keychains, stuff like that. So definitely look into supporting, and I'll see you guys soon.